I've been oscillating, oscillators, honest in my oscillations, occupying options, operating observations, talking profit conversations, copping off consolidation, calculating candles, contemplating correlations. Broke a trend line, bend time, stress test the baseline. Yeah, reverse a back test, bless that trace mine. I'm volatile, vocal vote, bullish on pain. Every loss I took, just retrace my gain. Syllable sync with the tick of the tape. I'm liquid in spirit, encrypted in shape. You passive in funds, I'm aggressive in faith. Turned out to a derivative, hedging my state. I'm the algorithm and the blues. Turn my trauma into moves. Every tick another groove. I make chaos keep its tune. I make chaos keep its tune. I make chaos keep. I've been gamma with grammar, glamour and grief. Grammar hammer like slammer relief. Candles flash like panic belief, but I rhyme like I'm hedging my chief motif. I'm the product of paradox, panic, and peace. Every metric I measure got madness beneath. Man, I manifest margins from nothing but nerd. Risk reward ratio perfectly good. Audible profit. All of my problems I pocket and stock it. Algorithmic, I'm highly melodic. Talking that logic, but louder than rockets. Pattern and patterns, I'm fractal fanatic. Mathematics and magic and habits schematic. Crash like corrections, but bouncing automatic. I balance my baggage with habits emphatic. Algorithm in the blue. Turn my trauma into moves. Every tick another groove. I make chaos keep its stronger. Algorithm blues. Turn my trauma into moves. Every tick another groove. I make chaos keep its tune. I make chaos keep its tune.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show, where I am holding this mic for, honestly, no reason. It kind of holds itself. So my apologies for that. But hey, I'm not going to apologize for the fact that it is apparently a turn it up type of a Tuesday. We are apparently going to be opening up at new all-time highs. Very excited. I hope you were able to swing your degenerate calls overnight. And if you didn't, hey, there's always an opportunity to make money in the world's largest casino. Folks, I hope you had a great day yesterday. I hope you made a bunch of money. I hope you crushed on the stair stepper. I hope you caught a lot of shrimp in old school RuneScape. I hope you had a phenomenal Monday. And honestly, hey, I know we don't talk about football much, but I hope you were betting on the Jacksonville Jaguars to somehow beat the Chiefs, because that was quite the end. It's like almost like the opposite of Sanchez's butt fumble. It's like where you have a completely horrible play, but then it somehow turns out to be phenomenal and amazing. So if you happen to be a Jacksonville fan, this might be your year. This honestly might be your year. So congratulations to all the fans out there. Congratulations to all the degen traders who swung overnight. And congratulations to all the people who crushed the stair stepper. I personally hit a new record yesterday. Not that anyone asked, but I want to share it with all of you because there's not really an established stair stepping like league or metrics or anything like that. So I have no idea with what I do if it's good or not when it comes to the world of stair stepping, but I was able to do 150 flights yesterday. Oh, and I think it just took me exactly 24 minutes. It's a new record for me personally. Basically, I think it was 98 steps per minute. So the wattage was like 220, 230 was how much I was putting out. Did that for about 24 minutes straight to hit the 150 flights. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this unique skill set, but one of these days when the Olympic Committee decides to get its act together and add it as a sport, I'm ready to bring home gold for the nation. So hope you had a great Monday. Hope you're having a good morning. Hope you, like I said, are already excited, because when I looked at the pre-market trading right before I started the show, I realized, whoa, I had to put on my green glasses because things are looking real good. So, of course, we're going to be getting to that, like the specifics of breakouts, breakdowns, the gamma levels, the trends, the big money setup. We're going to do that a little bit closer to market open. But what I want to let you know is between now and then, we're going to cover like the bigger stories. Obviously, we still are in the middle of a government shutdown. We're getting a little bit closer to maybe solving that problem. So we're going to be diving into that. We have some individual news related to AppLovin, which got clocked right in Power Hour yesterday. There was an announcement that the SEC is investigating it for data processing, data handling, and that stock got clipped. At least the last time I saw it, down like 15%. It's bouncing back a little bit right now. We have some other commodities, gold, silver ripping to new all-time highs, Bitcoin looking good. We're going to get into some of our favorite equities. We're going to do some stat facts and figure breakdowns. And by that point, the market's going to be opening. And ideally, we get our act together and actually make some money. So I appreciate you joining me at the crack of dawn, 9 a.m. It feels like we're up with the farmers. So thank you for getting up so early. Hope you had a good day yesterday and hope you're ready for an even better day today. Before I forget, don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. But if you're tuning in right now, the way the algorithms work on both Rumble and YouTube, when you guys join in, if you smash that like button, I'm talking breaking your mouse, slamming your keyboard off your wall, even go to your neighbor's cubicle if you need to. But when you guys come in, smash that like button. All that type of engagement does basically tell the algorithms, once again on both Rumble and YouTube, that, hey, this show might be good and we should promote it to other people. I know we have a niche sense of humor, a niche sense of commentary, but hey, I think it's about time that more people in this world understand that the word retard is finally back in style. Hey, I might be a martyr. I might die on this hill, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And with all that being said, let's get rocking. First of all, shout out to Apex, 80% off, $85 upgrade fee. That's a very cheap fee right now. Use that code Goonie. It's going to be running for 9 more days. So if you want to try to do that 50-50 technique at market open to pass those accounts, today's probably going to be a good day to use it. Don't forget to use that code Goonie, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Also, Bookmap, the best deal. There are various deals right here. Free, you could do monthly, there's different packages, but that's where I track all the sitting buy orders, sitting sell orders, especially if you're a day trader, scalp trader, especially if you're using something like Apex. I find it to be a very useful tool, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. All right, let's see what's going on. Stock futures are little changed after the S&P 500 and NASDAQ log new highs. Well, I would say it's about time to fire the intern because they did not update what in the world's going on. They're saying little change. I don't know if they saw the market this morning. Look at that pop. We're scheduled to open up at new high. What do they mean it's little change? Look at this rip. Look at this rip. All right. I guess the intern at CNBC doesn't want to keep their job anymore. So little change, a little suspect in my book because you know what's a lot change? My NDX calls, my SPY calls, my QQQ calls. They're all looking pretty freaking good. Trump opens door to talks GOP has resisted as shutdown extends. So maybe this is why, maybe it isn't why. I would say it's pretty highly correlated. But anyway, it seems as if we're maybe making some progressive steps towards ending this shutdown. Trump open to healthcare talks with Democrats to end the shutdown. Since the government shutdown began, Democrats and Republicans have been at an impasse over extending Obamacare subsidies. Remember, this all centers around the concept of should undocumented immigrants be getting healthcare. Now, obviously, on a federal level, that's already illegal, but it's one of these things where if you were to give your kid money and you're like, hey, you're not allowed to buy, I don't know, that new video game. And the kid's like, okay, I'm not going to do that. That's kind of the federal law. But what if the workaround is you give your kid money, the kid gives a friend money, that same money, the same amount of money, maybe not the same dollar bills, but the same amount of money. And then the kid, the friend, goes out and buys that game and then gives it to your kid. So that's the weird federal to state level thing that's going on right now. We're on a certain state level run program in the states of New York, Illinois, California. On state level programs, they are funding the healthcare for undocumented immigrants. From there, they're able to, quote unquote, plug that financial hole from federal dollars. So are federal dollars directly going to it? Technically, no. And the Democrats are right to say that. On the flip side, the Republicans are right to say, but one step later, it is getting to them. So that's what it's around. I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong. That's a philosophical issue. That's a personal issue. But I'm here just to give you the breakdown of how, like, the argument of the two sides. Both are kind of right. Both are kind of wrong. Both of them are spinning it up more than necessary for good clips. And the fact is that at this point, both sides are kind of, I suppose, holding the entire government hostage. But anyway, as I alluded to, we might be making a couple steps here. According to Kohrs, how long will the government shutdown last? We were spiking to 22 days. Overnight, we got a little bit of a reprieve when we got commentary from Trump. Early this morning, it's popping back up, but it does look as if this might be going to the later portion of the month of October. According to Kohrs, it is very, very confident, 68% confident that this will last beyond October 15th. Is that a guarantee? No, I'm giving you the odds right there, 68%. But you could see same thing as Kohrs, the recent odds cooling down a little bit. So basically the whole market is just hoping that this recent spike that we saw yesterday is kind of the extreme. Funding bill falls short again in the Senate, extending government shutdown. The Senate, for a fifth time, did not pass a House bill that would temporarily fund the U.S. government. To my understanding, they're attempting to just fund it to November, just giving everyone a little bit of time to understand this. Republicans need at least 8 Democrats to meet the 60-vote threshold required to advance the legislation. The Trump administration yesterday on Monday reiterated its threat of mass layoffs if the shutdown persists. So both sides are kind of saying, we want to solve it, we want to do the best for our constituents, but yet we're willing to let people get fired. I don't know. The whole thing is a messy situation, which is really jacking up the concept of uncertainty, and it's also driving down the value of the US dollar relative to other fiat currencies, which means gold is ripping. Honestly, we might have hit another new all-time high already this morning at 4,008. So shout out to all the gold bugs in here. You were right. I mean, look at this rip. Not long ago in August, we were trading at 3,400. We're already at 4,000. Gold as a commodity is ripping. Now, whether you're playing GC, whether you're playing GLD, maybe you just have gold under your mattress at home, whatever it is, massive congrats to you. Same thing with silver. We're just seeing right now, everything's going up but the dollar. If you look at your home values, it's going up. If you look at your assets, as in your stocks, those are going up. Commodities, whether physical or on the charts, they're all going up. The one thing going right down now is dollars. The worst thing you could be in my humble opinion, and remember, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your mom. Do whatever you think is appropriate. The worst thing you could be in right now is cash, because cash is getting devalued like no other. The dollar is just getting murdered while everything else is going up. And if you ask me, I don't think it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. And guess what? Ken Griffin of Citadel agrees with that statement.
Inflation is substantially above target and substantially above target in all forecasts for next year. I mean, it's part of the reason the dollar's depreciated by about 10% in the first half of this year. It's the single biggest decline in the U.S. dollar in 6 months in 50 years.
That's crazy.
Gold is at record highs. And the appreciation in other dollar substitutes, to use that word loosely, in items like crypto, for example, is unbelievable. So we're seeing substantial asset inflation away from the dollar as people are looking for ways to effectively de-dollarize or de-risk their portfolios vis-a-vis U.S. sovereign risk.
Are you really seeing that?
No, just check the price of gold.
Well,
I mean, I don't have to look very
that's like
hard.
a life of its own. Yeah.
What?
It's a life of its own, gold.
No, but it's a life of its own as you see sovereigns around the world, as you see central banks around the world, as you see individual investors around the world go, you know what? I now view gold as a safe harbor asset in a way that the dollar used to be viewed. That's what's really concerning to me. And there's been plenty of published research in recent weeks, months, about foreign investors now, when they buy U.S. equities, hedging the returns back to their local currency. So that, again, is a bifurcation of I'm going to bet on American business, but I want to immunize some of my sovereign exposure to the United States.
So that's a very fancy financial nerdy way to say people don't want to be in the dollar. They either want to be in the local currency, they want to go to something like gold, they want to go to something, Ethereum's ripping, Bitcoin's ripping. It basically, the answer is anything but the US dollar. And right now, based on the current state/phase of monetary policy, I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. There are serious concerns about inflation, and right now the Fed is really in the mode of we're cutting rates, which is not going to be helping inflation. So I get it. If you listen to the current administration, if you listen to certain accounts on Twitter, they're going to tell you inflation is gone, we've beat it. And then to that I say, you're stupid and you haven't been to the grocery store and you don't understand what inflation is. The metrics we are getting, inflation is there. You can, if you've purchased anything recently, prices are not just staying flat at an elevated value, they are continually creeping up. Inflation is there, but the reason we're still getting these Fed rate cuts is because it's becoming more concerning, allegedly, of what's going on in the job market. I say allegedly because we don't have the recent numbers. So that's going to be confusing. So what does this mean? It means we're going to see gigantic asset appreciation. And it's kind of a mathematical sleight of hand, because when the dollar itself is becoming devalued and something goes up in value relative to the dollar, well, is the upward trend outpacing how much it's actually losing its own purchasing power? So like I said, on paper, things are going to look very, very valuable. And maybe the best way I could really drive home that point is now that we all know a dollar's worth way less relative to a decade ago, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, the best way to think about that is we look at the market caps of companies. $1 billion company now is far less impressive than $1 billion company 3 decades ago, because a $1 billion company then, just what the dollar meant was so much more. So right now, when a stock is trading at whatever value, if it's continually going up, well, that's what it needs to do just to keep its own, really its true overall value, because the dollar is coming down and down, excuse me, and down. So with it, I fully believe we're going to see inflation stay there. In fact, I actually think now it's going to get worse because we are cutting the Fed fund rate. And I think this is going to drive, basically, I know we live in our own microcosm, and I was just talking to my wife about this, of how we have so many friends who really aren't paying attention whatsoever, and they're just sitting with cash in their accounts. And folks, people sitting with cash in their accounts, they are going to be very, very much left behind. Like I said, I highly implore you talking to your financial advisor about this, but this idea of cash is king, no, it is not right now. Cash at this current moment is the jester in the court who's about to get beheaded because he pissed off the actual king. And the king in this case is anything but cash. Assets are set to pop, and I very much believe it's going to be a wild one. Paul Tudor Jones says ingredients are in place for a massive rally before a blow-off top to the bull market. 100% agreed. Who believes the fake jobs and inflation numbers? I don't think many people believe them, but at the end of the day, the Fed, the FOMC, all those voting members are using those data points. So believing it or not is a different question than are they being utilized by the internal voting body to make our decisions. And that's what matters. But anyway, right here, Paul Tudor Jones says the bull market is still going to be a bull market.
We're joined right now by legendary investor Paul Tudor Jones. He's the founder and CIO of Tudor Investment Corporation, of course, the founder and board member at the Robinhood Foundation. And we should mention that on October 15th, Robinhood's foundation is hosting its 13th annual investor conference right here in New York City, and we'll talk about that. But a lot of headlines. You know the Verizon guys. You know Schulman pretty well, actually.
Dan Schulman is chairman of Just Capital. So that's a great day for Dan, a great day for corporate America, a great day for America and capitalism.
Okay, so let me ask you about the markets, though, right now, because we have all these big headlines, including today. We have this OpenAI deal with AMD. AMD is ripping. There's these warrants. Some people look at these as sort of these circular deals. We had 2 weeks ago a similar deal with NVIDIA. We've got a big bank deal this morning. We're going to hear from Fifth Third's CEO in just a little bit. You were, I think, dare I say, very pessimistic the last time I saw you here back in May. How do you feel now?
May was the best time to buy, so he really messed that one up.
It's like the Prince song. It's 1999. Party like it's 1999, right? Feels exactly like 1999. I don't know whether we'll actually replay it exactly, but I think all the ingredients are in place. And certainly from a trading standpoint, you have to position yourself like it's October 99. I don't see why you would do anything but that. And remember, the NASDAQ doubled between the first week of October 99 and March of 2000.
It doubled?
So,
wow.
if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably not a chicken, right?
But you think it's 99,
not
and
the
we were talking
same.
to Mike Novogratz earlier today. It's not 98. I mean, everyone's it's either 98, 99, but it's not 96, I guess is the point.
Right.
And that's a problem, potentially.
Right.
Or it's maybe an opportunity, but you have to get on and off the train pretty quick.
Well, if you just think about bull markets, right, the greatest price appreciation is always the 12 months preceding the top. So that's the nature of a bull market. It kind of doubles whatever the annual average is and before then. So if you don't play it,
right,
you're missing out on the juice. If you do play it, you have to have really happy feet, because there will be a really, really bad end to it. And my guess is that I think all the ingredients are in place for some kind of a blow-off. Will it happen? Again, history rhymes a lot, so I would think some version of it is going to happen again.
Right.
If anything now is so much more potentially explosive than 1999. 1999, we were looking at a rate hike in November. Now we're looking at a rate cut. We were looking at 4 more rate hikes before we actually topped in 2000. Now we're looking at 3 or 4 rate cuts, probably at least. So you have monetary policy that's going to take us to real rates of 0 or less, probably, depending upon the next Fed chair. And then the big difference is, obviously, fiscal policy. We had a budget surplus in 99, 2000. Now we've got a 6% budget deficit. So that combination, that fiscal monetary combination, is a brew that we haven't seen since, I guess, the post-war period, early 50s, something like that. And that was crazy times, right, coming out of the war.
But you think that most people who are watching us now, you need to be in this market now. But then the question, as I said, is you have to jump off the train before the train crashes. If you're suggesting the train is going to crash.
I'm not suggesting the train's going to crash. I'm suggesting that we're in a period that's conducive for massive price appreciation in a variety of assets. Will it happen or not? I don't know. If you kind of just look, if you just think about the leverage that we had in 1999, you look at margin debt, and then you look at today margin debt, but you have to throw in leverage ETFs because people don't use margin like they did back then. We're probably a little more elevated than we were in October of 99. It will take a speculative frenzy for us to elevate those prices, right? It will take more retail buying. It'll take more recruitment from a variety of from long-short hedge funds, from real money, et cetera. It'll take a combination of those things. It's not going to go up without flows and without a story. The story's there. It's the combination of the most unique and aggressive fiscal and monetary conditions that we've ever seen.
Okay, if you're right, who are the winners then in that, and who are the losers? Because right now we're looking at an NVIDIA obviously being a major winner. Even AMD today, major winner, but there's this unique arrangement that's almost circular.
The circularity makes me nervous. I would say,
makes everyone nervous.
And I'm going to think of it in broad terms. I think what the markets are telling you, this is an inflation story down the road. If you look at the biggest winners, right? The biggest winners are gold. I think it's up 46, 47%. Bitcoin, I want to say it's up 50 or 60. I'm not even sure. There's a Morgan Stanley basket that's a retail flow basket that has all the meme stocks in it. It's up 67, 68%. So it's really
all the meme stocks.
What retail jumps on. So crypto, digital gold, that's obviously something that's very, very appealing.
And does that mean you're jumping on all of that right now?
Well, I'd want to have positions in all of it, for sure. So if you said to me, what are going to be the winners? Again, we have this race.
Right.
The race, realistically, is certainly to the end of the year, because that's when everyone marks institutionally. And then you have to figure out what's going to go on in next year.
Which is important to recall the JP Morgan $7,000 SPX target for December 31st of this year. Folks, I know it's a bit far away, but I actually think it's legitimately possible. SPX 7,000 this calendar year.
So what would I want to have? I'd want to have a combination of gold, crypto, probably the NASDAQ. I think
I like it.
want to say that I've said that before, and I think that's still the right one. And I think whatever the fastest horse is at this point in time probably has a good chance of being that on deck 31.
The fastest horse at this time. Well, as of now, it's not looking like a bad call out because we are right in the zone of a new all-time high. And the fact that we're having a little bit of a pullback right now, I actually like it because that means we don't have to worry about the downside gap fill, which has been the bane of our existence at least a little bit recently. With respect to today, there is nothing on the schedule. Of course, there could always be random announcements, especially related to the government shutdown. But as of now, there's nothing scheduled on the docket that we have to be aware of at 9:45 or 10 or anything like that. With respect to individual equities, I already see some people chatting about it. I don't have a position in this. I don't really care about it. AppLovin probed by SEC over its data collection practices. So if you were watching it, you realize it got clocked yesterday. It went from trading at 667 all the way down to 547. It's back up to 600 right now. It's being investigated. That doesn't mean it's guilty. That doesn't mean it's innocent. That means we have to awkwardly wait around and find out if they are guilty or innocent. But anyway, that's why people are talking about it. Dropped 14% yesterday. A little bit of rebound in pre-market trading. When I see plays like this, I am not interested in them whatsoever. I don't have any data or models that is appropriate to be like, yeah, I think it's going to break this way or that way. So unless you have some sort of specialty information, I find it's better to stay away. AppLovin stock tanks on report. The SEC is investigating the company over data collection practices. AppLovin shares plummeted after Bloomberg reported that the SEC has been probing the mobile advertising company about its data collection practices. The agency has been looking into whether the company violated agreements on pushing targeted ads to consumers. If they are found to have done this, it's going to keep dropping. If they are found to have not done this, the stock's going to pop right back. Congrats on your 50-50 opportunity. AppLovin stock has been booming, but the company has been targeted by short sellers. Well, recently, it looks like they got a little bit of that to be correct. If you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter. This is 100% free. Comes to your email inbox every single Sunday at 10 a.m. as long as I get up in time. I break down what's going on in the market. I give you a cheat sheet of all the major macroeconomic events. There is consumer credit coming out at 3 p.m. So for people who are still trading right at the start of Power Hour, you might want to pay attention to that. Not the biggest deal. Historically, today is a bearish day. Over the past 27 years worth of data, you can see that we've been trending down and down and down. But over the last 7 years, it's gotten a lot more jagged. So it's either bearish or leaning bearish. But I just want to show you the hypothetical results you would have if you bought it open, sold at close on this day in the S&P 500 futures market. Tomorrow is leaning bullish. Thursday is a bit more bearish. And Friday is exactly neutral. Like I said, this is 100% free. If you're watching this, you might as well sign up. It's just free statistical breakdowns of what's going on in the market. Speaking of which, I obviously want you to know that we have this is not necessary. Leave. All right, cool. We almost hit a new all-time high yesterday. We got very, very close, but technically in the S&P 500, it's an inside day. The high and the low were within the high and the low of Friday, so technically an inside day. But looking at how pre-market's going right now, looks like we are shaping up to hit a new record level today once again. The NASDAQ actually hit a new all-time high yesterday. The Russell almost hit a new all-time high yesterday, and you could already see it early this morning. Gold hitting a new all-time high already, and then also looking at Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high yesterday. So folks, this is a bull market. I don't know why you would be attempting to fade this. Everyone who's been trying to attempt to fade this ever since May has just nothing but losing. Why are people at all possibly considering bearish positions? It blows my mind. It's one thing if you're a day trader, scalp trader doing like a short-term thing, but if you're swing trading a bearish position at this point, I honestly question what data you are going off of, because it's just silly. You are trying to pick up pennies in front of a steamroller. It is not worth the effort, because right now the people who are making money, the people who are laughing all the way to the bank are the bulls. Bringing us to today, here are the key levels I'm personally paying attention to. As always, I have the previous high, low, and close. That is the green, the red, and the white line. The white box is the transition zone. Above it is bullish. Below it is bearish. Within it is choppy. This is once again through the perspective of a zero DTE trader, like today's action exclusively. And then the final thing on the screen are these yellow horizontal lines, which are all the major open interest levels, as in where we see big players, or at least not necessarily big players, but collectively a lot of big money in totality. So obviously something worthwhile to pay attention to. And it looks like right out of the gate, we're going to be talking about 6750, which was big resistance yesterday. We have support right here at 6745. We have resistance up here at 6770. We have an interesting target at 6780, and we have a reach target at 6800 flat. Now, obviously, these are my levels. Feel free to use them. Feel free to not use them. Feel free to be bullish at them, bearish at them. Like I said, I am not your mom. Feel free to screenshot it. Feel free to write them down. Feel free to either use it or don't. I don't really care, but these are the levels I'll personally be using today. I also want to bring to your attention that if we can break above 6750, this is going to be the level of the day. This is a major positive gamma node. If the bulls are truly on parade, this is going to be a scary, bloody situation for the bears if the bulls can overcome this resistance between 6750 and 6760. If they can, it is pretty much a just roller coaster ride all the way down to 6790 and 6800. So this is going to be my major watch out of the gate. On a zero DTE perspective, we do have a little bit of the benefit of negative gamma. That's going to change right at market open though. So really what I'm watching is the breakout and or rejection at 6750, 6760. And on that note, dingity ding ding ding, the world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all, play responsibly, and if not, have fun. All right, what is moving this morning? SoFi is already up 3%. AMD rebounding 6.7%. HUT is also up around 2.5%. Tesla is down. I am not liking that. I do have a bullish Tesla position. Where is Microsoft? Microsoft is also a little bit down. So the SPY very quickly getting its downside gap fill, technically opening above its high from yesterday. So we already cleared that up. We don't have to worry about it. And the Qs did not open above the high, so I don't have much to worry about there. So right now, my goal is obviously to show you guys the options flow, and I really, if anything, want to be calm, cool, collected, not rush anything out of the gate, because today might be a really good opportunity if we are patient and can just identify some of those low risk entry opportunities. And just unless you have other specialty odds or anything like that, your base assumption should be a 50-50 shot. I think especially if maybe you haven't taken the time to do extensive statistical research of certain situations and the likelihood of the Bayesian probabilities or something like that. Your base assumption should be at any point, assume 50% chance of up, 50% chance of down, especially on any short time frame. And you might be thinking, well, hang on, if it's 50-50, how could I be profitable? Well, you're profitable on 50-50 games if you're able to capture more than you would lose. So that's where you want at least at minimum a 1-to-1 payoff to be break even. And obviously you're looking for a bigger payoff than that. So SPY looking good. We are technically right at that all-time high. So whatever the intraday high is now a new record high. And as I showed you earlier today, 6750, 6760, that's where things are going to get really crazy. So we're already at my first level of the day. Awesome, great, cool. What I'm looking for is, can we hold this? And then a secondary question is, can we actually get this breakout up here? Because if we can, we are talking about basically 6,800, maybe 6,790 today. But this will be the interesting level without a doubt in my mind. We're only a couple minutes into the day. The Mag 7 flow looks strong. Only a couple minutes into the day. S&P 500 flow looks strong. And we are cooking. SoFi up 4.8%. I have not traded that until recently, and then I talked to you guys about it, and a lot of you have been calling it out, and I just had to wait for that opportunity to strike, and I'm happy to let you know I did strike yesterday, currently up 52% on it, aka $8.1 thousand. Obviously, when I got into this trade, it was called out basically in real time to the Discord, so if you're interested in that type of stuff, a community of other active traders for plays like that, check it out. Your first month is free anyway. You might as well get into the Goonie Discord because I don't know, it's just a community of people who are interested in the same shit that you're interested in. And obviously, with your first month being free, you don't have, oh fuck, Oracle just broke down. Well, almost broke down. Kind of. Technically not my risk yet, but Oracle, I'd rather it trend the other way. Tesla inside day, Microsoft inside day, SoFi looking good. We already took out that. Now I'm watching 2860. NVIDIA inside day, but it's looking like it wants to puncture 188. Apple inside day, no trend. Palantir inside day. Oracle, don't like it. CoreWeave had that big pop yesterday, then got absolutely dumped on. And AMD inside day, but that's no surprise because yesterday was a large range day. So waiting for some trend to really get developing there. Microsoft's another big winner for me. I got into that one yesterday as well. It's slightly red right now, but I'm not really that surprised because there's quite a bit of open interest at 5:30, and we definitely saw people react to that this morning and also yesterday. So right now, the gem of my current positions is actually, well, I have SPY calls and I have Q calls, so that's looking good. SoFi is probably my best performing equity at the moment in terms of my swing positions. Well, I could tell you, hang on. Actually, Microsoft is. Microsoft and SoFi are crushing it. I'm up on my SPY calls. I'm up on my Tesla calls. I'm up on my Q calls. The only one that's not doing well for me at the moment is Oracle, which makes me wonder, should I just cut it? Because if everything's pumping and then this one's not, maybe there's something that I need to be concerned about. So I'll give this a second to breathe, but I might end up cutting it early. We'll see. We'll see. I also took a degenerate position on NDX, and we'll see. Hang on. Here's a look at flow. Mag 7 is looking strong. S&P 500 also looking strong. It is 935. Let me, oh geez. Hang on. Let me open one app really quick. Oh, too much to pay attention to, too much to manage, but here we go. Right. What is my password? What is my password? All right. We have this. Just cleaning it up. Sometimes this font is way too small. All right, I also have an NDX position. That's only up 7.8%. It's a big position for me, so the 8% gain is actually 5K. You can see that right here. I'm doing this in my DGen account. I have NDX calls, got them yesterday. I wouldn't chase it now. It's a small percent gain, but obviously since it's so large, it's a $70,000 bet. When you're up 9%, you're already up 6K. So that one's working out somewhat well on this NDX push. Interesting. And then also to show you, like I said, shout out to Apex, but I just wanted to show you my Apex accounts. Use that code Goonie to get 80% off, and you too could trade with someone else's capital. I just wanted to show you I haven't traded yet today. If anything, I ended up making 1.3K yesterday. When I left you guys, I was in the red. I got really lucky with that mid-afternoon push because it pretty much went right to my profit target. I was able to lock it in. I had one runner. The runner got stopped out for break even, and that's how I made about 1.3K on all these accounts yesterday. So, of course, you always want more. That's just the nature of trading. But I have to admit, the fact that I was green at all, I am pretty stoked about. So I just wanted to show you where these are all at. Like I said, up about 1.3K. Haven't done anything yet today. I'm watching SoFi. I'm watching Microsoft. I'm watching Tesla 450. I know people are going to ask me about it, so I might as well give you the Tesla levels right now. As the world's best Tesla trader, I know this is what you guys expect of me. But right here, here's a look at Tesla currently trading at 450. This is an interesting movement. From yesterday to today, there's a shift. The wall was at 450 yesterday. Now it's at 455. Some people are targeting 460. This is a brand new position of positive gamma. Interesting. So, okay, that shifted. If you watch yesterday's update video, if you were in the show yesterday, you know that this is a new position. So that's going to be the natural breakout level, 455. Some people might be taking profits at 460, 470, but the reach target is all the way over here at 500. And the expiration date on the 500 is basically the October, really the November, December, and January monthlies. That's where the open interest is on this 500, with most of it being clustered in the November expiration. This is a brand new position between yesterday and this morning, the 455. It used to be 450, and then obviously some people are playing 460. So right now, if you're watching Tesla, especially in the short term, 455 is, let me go to the 30-minute. So we had this high yesterday at 53. 55 is the interesting breakout. I'll add an alert there so we know if it's testing it. I'll go 1 cent under. So yep, pay attention to this level, and then be careful of profit taking at 460. Some people are now interested in, well, you guys have always been interested in SoFi, so I can't even say like you now are. You guys got me interested in it. SoFi currently trading at 27.50, big support at 25, big support at 26, interesting level at 27.50. This is where we're at right now. You have a reach at 29, and then really the ultimate level all the way up here at 30. Just because AMD's been going crazy, I might as well give you guys that level. AMD, you could see right here. There are people long calls 200, 205, and 210. So maybe out to 240. Hang on. PLTR. I just got an alert on PLTR. PLTR, breakout alert there. Okay, it's breaking the inside bar to the upside, which is generally bullish. So there might be a play there, back up to 188, 180, 190. 190 maybe. Palantir getting a push. Where's PLTR? Right here. Palantir, from a daily perspective, the inside bar break to the upside, that's bullish, and your risk isn't that bad. I currently don't have a position on it. Currently don't, but depending on how things go today, it might. Mag 7, the trend was up for the first 6 minutes. Now we're flattening out. Let's see if it can go from this basing up to another push to the upside. SPY got a push for the first 2.5 minutes, now going flat. It was call buying. Now some people are buying a little bit of puts, but out of the gate today, we had the first 2 minutes was 0-DTE call buying on the S&P 500. So some bullish bets coming in, but some people are trying to fade this move here at 50, just so I guess everyone knows. Okay, what is this pre-market high? Because that's an interesting target level for me. Pre-market high is 75, 275, 275, 275. Oh, do I want to play that? Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm going to put in a pending order.
Order submitted.
I'm putting in a pending order. Pending order, pending order. What was this high? Exactly 75. Let's check out Bookmap here. Yeah, a lot of people are targeting that pre-market high. There's a bit of resistance here right at 60. And then the next level people are trying to sell is that pre-market high at 75, which is exactly why those end up becoming important, because they have the characteristics of a self-fulfilling prophecy. They just, because a lot of people see it, they throw their orders up there. Because they throw their orders up there, other people throw their orders up there. Then you have enough people throwing their orders up there that the market reacts to it. And then everyone's like, wow, look at a double top, or they reacted to it. So that's a lot of how the market works, especially in the short term. It's just self-fulfilling prophecies. If enough people act and believe on the same thing in short-term trading, it becomes the truth, because there's enough people doing that exact thing. So that's why I like to mark out the overnight session low and high. They happen to be natural targets, and upwards of 85, 90% of the time in the regular trading hours, either the high or the low is taking out. That doesn't mean you trade it out of the gate, obviously. It means you might want to be looking still. We got a little faded there, 609. SPY. Oh, speaking of that, I didn't give you the levels for the SPYs and the Qs today. So the SPY is currently trading at 672. You have a breakout level at 673, 674, and a reach target at 676. If you think it's going to get rejected, you have support at 669, and below that you have 665, 666. On the Qs, currently trading at 609, you have a clear resistance at 610, and if you think it's going to get rejected here, you have support at 605, 606. Once again, that is for QQQ. What's interesting about the Qs is there's not really much beyond 610. So it could become a runaway train situation, but you would really, really have to monitor the Zero-DTE bets to see if people are playing 611, 612, stuff like that. But right now, we did hit a new all-time high. To no one's surprise, we are very much struggling at this gigantic gamma level of 6,750. This is where the battle's going to be, somewhere between 6,750, 6,760, 65. It's just those giant pillars of positive gamma. It's difficult to break, but if it does break, that's pretty much setting up 6,800. Is that going to happen today? That's obviously a natural question. I don't know. If I knew that, we would all be multi-billionaires. Multi-billionaires. So it's just that game of prediction is silly. It's just, can you identify an opportunity to get in with low risk, high reward, and then ride the trend? Speaking of riding the trend, Palantir is looking awesome. I'm loving the bounce in Tesla. Microsoft could look better. SoFi is ripping it. NVIDIA is looking good. Apple's doing nothing. Let's move that down. Oracle trying to bounce, big fan of that. CoreWeave not really doing too much. AMD not really doing too much. All right, I guess there's a lot that's not doing too much. Palantir looking phenomenal. SoFi looking phenomenal. What else are you guys watching? What else is on everyone's list that you're like, dude, this is moving today? Is there something that I'm missing? Feel free to shout it out. What's AMC doing? Nothing. Who cares? Stealing money from people because the board are some of the biggest fucking dimwits in the world. I can't believe people are still watching that. Bitcoin is, of course, looking great. It's at 124. Meta, it started to bounce yesterday. Meta's daily chart has not been looking good right here. It started to bounce a little bit yesterday, right here, seemingly finding this low. So it could be a decent dip buy, your risk being the wick. And if you're right, you get to ride it all the way back up. So I don't mind the risk reward, but I do find it concerning that Meta's been doing nothing when the overall tech sector is absolutely ripping. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that relative weakness. How's Open doing? The hottest pump and dump? Well, nothing really. RKLB. We already looked at this one. If you have a position, great, ride it, but it's not appropriate to make a position now because your risk is too far away, and I definitely wouldn't be shorting it. IREN. New high, like I said, if you have a bullish position, ride it, but it's not appropriate to make one now, and I wouldn't bet against it because it's way too strong. Actually, all of quantum computing is still looking good. RGTI pumping, qubits looking really good, IONQ, but the argument is the same. It's not appropriate to make a new bullish position. If you have one, amazing, ride it, but I wouldn't bet against it because it's too strong. So a lot of these things that are like have just very good looking charts like this, that doesn't mean it's appropriate to make a new position. It definitely doesn't. Because like, okay, imagine right here, IONQ, it pumps, it pulls back, and you're like, okay, is it going to bounce? Then you get this, you buy the breakout, you're risking the recent low, and then you get to ride it to here. So obviously an optimal opportunity without knowing where it's going is entering at 65 because your risk is 60. You have reasonable risk, your target is up here at 76, and then maybe you get to ride it higher, and that's exactly what happened. So at this point, it's silly. So then you ask yourself, okay, what looks kind of like this opportunity here, once again, not knowing where it's going. And that's exactly why you guys basically talked me into getting to SoFi. We have a big pump, we have a pullback. Oh, wow, I'm able to get in with low risk and I'm already riding it to the upside. You want to look for the things that are about to turn, because if you get them right when they're turning, that's when you have a low risk entry. So if you're wrong, you can survive the paper cut. If you're right, you get to keep going and going and going. And really, you just need to ride it as long as you can to pay off those times that you are unfortunately forced to take the paper cut. So the SPY right now, seemingly getting pinned to its high value from yesterday and from Friday. The NASDAQ putting in a higher low right here. I'm kind of liking that. This is actually a bullish period if we do break out. 9:40, 9:50, and 10 a.m. on those 10-minute bars. We're getting a little bit of a pop. Interesting. 30. Not the worst risk reward I've ever heard of. Okay, the Mag 7 is picking up. Do I like it? See, we're being told a different story between the Mag 7 and the S&P 500. Mag 7 popped up, went flat, a little bit down, a little bit up, so it's holding that morning pop. The S&P 500 popped and then actually vomited all the way to give us a new delta low. So right now we're being told slightly different stories between the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Slightly different stories. And then obviously the question here is who's right? Who's the truther and who's the liar? Who's the truther? Who's the liar? SoFi is still going. Palantir is holding. Let me know. Oh, Tesla's battling it out at 450, so hopefully it could hold that. I prefer Microsoft back up at 530. NVIDIA just got some form of an alert. NVIDIA is looking good, so you'd expect the NASDAQ to actually look a little bit better if the world's biggest stock is still going. Oh, a nice little technical bottom there on NVIDIA. That's not bad at all. All right, we should probably look at where NVIDIA could potentially go. Currently trading at 187 and change. Quite a bit of resistance at 195. 93, 95. 95. So people are playing right where my cursor is. That's not the worst I've ever seen. 188, you're either risking 186 or you're risking 183 for a 195 target right here. Not the worst I've ever heard of. Not the worst. I'd say it's a B level play. It's good. It's bullish. Overall market's bullish. NVIDIA's looking good. I wish the risk reward was a bit more optimal. I do. It's not the worst I've seen. It's fine. I'm not against it. I'm not in love with it. What I don't like is the SPY pushing its intraday low. NVIDIA just got another pop. SoFi is the biggest gainer on my watch list right now. AMD is looking pretty decent as well, at least on an intraday. SoFi getting up to 28. We do have, 28 followed by 30. We already broke those levels down. Okay, the Qs are trying to put in a higher low right here while the SPY is not paying attention. The Mag 7 is taking off while the SPY is getting hit. Two very different stories. So one of two things is going to happen. Either the Mag 7 and the NASDAQ are going to turn, or the SPY is going to turn to the upside. These both are not going to hold true throughout the day. Very, very rare circumstance when you have the Mag 7 and the S&P 500 trending in opposite directions the entire day, because remember, the most weighted things in the S&P 500 is the Mag 7. So inherently, there's a hyper high correlation between the direction of those two because of the weighting of the Mag 7, which I think these seven alone make up 30 to 40% of the weighting in the S&P 500. So we're kind of at that awkward point where I'm waiting for this profit taking to stop. And it's not really that much. Yeah, there's a little profit taking on the SPY, but some people did have these 0-DTE puts. So I assume that they're fading the 50. They're basically saying, okay, on this pop, we think it gets rejected. The risk is probably the recent high. They're riding it down. So I'm waiting to see if these 0-DTE put buyers decide to become 0-DTE put sellers to remove that negative gamma. And in reality, we might just bounce here, the top of the transition zone. There is, I guess, the odds of hitting that closing value at 40, but remember, this is the choppy zone. This white box, it's not bearish, it's not bullish, it's chop. It's, like I said, the transition zone. So I hope we don't get sucked into this and then end up not moving at all today. We've also seen those days a little bit recently where we get sucked into these positive gamma nodes and just don't do anything all day. We don't do anything all day. So let's see if we can actually get out of this. I wouldn't mind a little bit of a trend line break, something like that. But let's pay attention. Recovery of 45, recovery of 48. But really, if S&P 500, the actual SPX, can get above and hold this 6,750, that's where I believe a little bit of the party starts. And that's where maybe we could see a nice takeoff in the NASDAQ today. So it's a lot of ifs, but I think that's the best way to approach the overall market, is the giant of if-then statements. If this happens, then I'll do this. And if the conditional does not occur, then you're not doing anything. And in the meantime, I get to ride SoFi higher, which I'm not complaining about at all. I must be making a killing on SoFi right now. Oh, I am. Look at that. In one day, I got this position yesterday, October 6th. I'm already up 12K, 11.8, a nice 79% return, a nice 80% return. Folks, if you're not in the Goonie Trading Discord, you are missing out on $12.471 thousand opportunities. This would have paid for, what, 200 years, something like that? Would have paid for a long time. No, 20 years. Sorry, poor mental math. It would have paid for 20 years of your access. You could have been in this for decades with me. Decades. In a certain way, I should thank you guys, because it wasn't, where was it? You guys started screaming about SoFi kind of back here, and I just never really saw that good of an opportunity to get in until recently. So shout out to everyone who brought it to my attention in June. Because you guys are the real winners. It's been on my watch list since then. Really, I've been watching this play literally since late June, and then it got all squirrely here with the earnings. I didn't want to play that. I felt really stupid for missing this August play, but that's because my account was already on tilt from other reasons. So that was the last opportunity I liked, and I had to now wait until this moment to do anything. So for everyone who was screaming at me about SoFi in June, I'd like to say thank you. Because you guys are who put it on my watch list, and I finally just found that opportunity to get in. Like I said, I entered it yesterday and already up 90%. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. Okay, all right. SoFi is ripping. Palantir, I don't have a position currently, but it's looking somewhat decent. Oracle was trying to bend back around, not liking it now. Apple, flat. CoreWeave is getting a bit of a pop. Hood trying to recover. NVIDIA is looking very good. Microsoft could look better. Tesla, remember, it is 455. Hang on.
Order canceled.
Is this my opportunity? Mag 7 took off because of NVIDIA probably. Is this, I have no position on my NQs yet. I'm wondering, is this the bottom? I'm wondering out loud, are we getting this trend line breakout? Yes, no, maybe so. My risk would obviously be this recent low. Should I take a stab at it? I kind of want to. Fuck it. America.
Order submitted.
America is good. America. All right. We're taking a stab at it. We're risking this low. We're watching the options flow. Mag 7's been bullish this entire time. Momentum is bullish. Hence, I am bullish. I was waiting for the low risk opportunity to get in. I was looking for the SPY to maybe start turning around. I didn't want to go long as the SPY was continuing to vomit because I didn't know who was right. Was the Mag 7 right? Was the SPY right? But now that they're starting at 950, kind of in agreement together, I have taken... Ooh, look at that pop. We bounce off the point of control. Nice. Here's my position. I'm long at 53. I'm risking this recent low. I am targeting for the first one of two. I am targeting this pre-market high at 75. As soon as that hits, and ideally it is soon, I will then move my stop to break even, and then I have a runner. And if I make money, I make money on the runner. If it gets stopped out for break even, it gets stopped out for break even. But my major focus out of the gate is just locking in this first one. Because when I do that, from there, then it's a free money play. So hopefully there's some follow through. Hopefully this little pop right here is not a fake out. I am trying to be mindful of the fact that we could easily be rejected at 750. I was hoping it would hold as support. Fifth time it tested, it broke down. We found support at the top of the transition zone. That's exactly why we mark them out every single day. And then we bounce back up to the next level. Whenever you come to a level, you have a 50-50 shot. There is no model in the world that can tell you, will this break or will this get rejected? All I can tell you is you should identify the key levels and then wait and sit there. I wish I were a little bit earlier to enter. I got in at 55, obviously a stronger entry, but this is hindsight. Would have been 53, 54, would have de-risked my position a little bit, but overall, I'm still fine with the risk. I'm in at 50, it's risking 30, that's 20 points. The way that the NQ contracts move, 20 points is actually pretty decent risk. So I find that I can take on that risk. Of course, we'll call it a 50-50 shot. I don't know if this is going to break or not. I was just waiting for things to align. Mag 7 went up. I saw the SPY popped. Unfortunately, it's going down a little bit right now. And it's all just going to come down to, really, are we going to run up to this pre-market high? And if we do, are we going to do it soon? Or is it going to screw me over a little bit? But right in this little trend line breakout, the Nasdaq, did it tie? The Q's made a new all-time high there. How is this position looking? Up 5.7K. That's not bad. How's SoFi? SoFi is just climbing, up almost a full 100%. Almost a full 100% in a one-day hold. That is crazy. That is very fortunate. Statistically, absurdly rare. Absurdly rare. Oh, I should have waited. Honestly, I should have waited to get into right now. I wish I waited till now because I would have had the same fill, but it just would have been, I guess, a better expression of discipline and patience for the entry. So it's not like it would have helped me, but instead of chasing the pump, I could have waited for a little bit of a pullback and then it had a jolt to the upside. You can't see it on the 1 minute. You can see it on the 500 tick. I wish I waited for that one a little bit. It's coming close to my risk. Like I said, I'm risking this recent low. I found in this game of day trading, scalp trading, really even swing trading, if you can keep your risk manageable, that is how you win. Assume you are going to be right half of the time. Assume you are going to be wrong half the time. I know that a lot of people think that there's these fancy models out there that you're right all the time and you're making money. It just simply doesn't work like that. That is not the math of the market. People who try to sell you that concept, they do not have any understanding of the math of the market. They simply do not. Don't buy into it. You don't need to spend any of your money on those courses. Of course, there are ways where you can skew your statistics. Like, for example, if you're risking 100 points but only going for one, yeah, you're going to be right more than 50% of the time. But in general, if you're risking 20 points, going for 20 points, it's gonna be about 50-50. Yeah, you could do a bit of data mining and find certain setups and use EMA filters, RSI filters, MACD filters, and maybe you get a 5 or 10% edge, and that's cool. Awesome, great. If you are right 60% of the time, 55% of the time, and when you're right to the tune of 3 units, and when you're wrong, you're losing 1 unit, you have a really good trading system. That's awesome. That's exactly what you should be doing. But as a base case, you should be building everything off of the assumption that you are doing 50-50 unless you are going for very small scalps. If you're doing like little breakout and breakdown scalps for 2 to 3, that's possible and that's good and you can make money doing it. The math does get changed a little bit. I'm getting alerts over here on SoFi. SoFi, wow. Look at this. Look at this runner. Golly, SoFi putting my entire account on its back this morning. I wouldn't chase it now. I want to be clear. The entry was here at 26, not here at 28.50. I find that a lot of people, too many people are willing to chase after the move is already started. How's your position on SoFi doing? It's doing phenomenal. I'm up 108%. Doing phenomenal. Why is Meta dumping? Because people are choosing to buy it and sell it at a lower price than they were previously. Not to sound facetious, but that's literally what decides the market. It's where a willing buyer and a willing seller meet on price. That is equilibrium. It is the crossover of supply and demand. That's what price is. It's where supply and demand meet. Supply and demand might meet at a lower and lower price. i.e. what you are seeing in Meta, or they might meet at a higher price, i.e. what you're seeing on SoFi and Tesla. Now, as to why, you're going to have to ask all the people who are buying and selling, why did they do it? Did they do it because of a algorithm? Is it market makers? Is it an individual trader or a hedge fund reacting to news? As to why they're choosing to buy or sell, where they're choosing to buy or sell, you'd have to go ask those people. I don't know. That's kind of up to them, and that's their story. Maybe they have a good interpretation of news, a bad interpretation of news. Maybe they are hedging out either calls or puts or something like that. The point to, especially in the short term, as to why things are moving is a lot less useful than like, is the thing itself moving? Because at the end of the day, what is price is how you make money or lose money. Price and price trend. And like when I say price trend, I mean like velocity of price and that type of stuff. As to why the SPY is selling right here, whether I can properly explain why people are choosing to sell or not, that's up to them. I don't know. It's just more of price is king. That is what is right. So I can measure it and be like, oh, okay, I see people are selling calls and I see they are buying puts. As to why they are selling calls and buying puts, I don't know. But the fact is they are selling calls, they are buying puts. That is dropping delta. That is dropping the underlying price. Speaking of that, I'm about to get wicked out on my NQ position, unfortunately. Right here, I'm about to get wicked out and take a loss. Ooh. Am I going to get saved? Are buyers am I going to get lucky today? Probably not. Whenever it comes like this, I'm generally never the lucky guy. You know how people always have those screenshots of like, oh, it almost got wicked out? Yeah, I just got hit right there. All right, took a loss. Survivable. Basically just gave back those gains from yesterday. I was hoping that this higher low and the higher high would hold. I mean, that's a good trend. It just didn't keep trending. It was that blow off top. And even the SPY started to get going there, started to get a wee bit rocked. And you have to honor your risk, because it's when you overstay your welcome, at least for me, that's when things get really, really bad. It's those times where I put in my risk and then change it, or I don't put in my risk at all. And I'm like, no, it's a mental stop. Like, trust me, I'm going to get out like when I should get out. Those are the times that I get absolutely railroaded. Absolutely railroaded. It's those times where like, I tell myself I have a risk, and before I execute the trade, I know where I'm going to get out. And then intra-trade, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change it a little bit. Those are the times where my accounts generally end up in very, very painful positions or completely blow out. As much as it isn't fun to lose $1,000, that's how much I made yesterday. So it ends up netting out, whatever. Okay, I'm back to exactly where I started, but I still have the opportunity to get it back today. In the moment, especially with day trading, it's really, really tough to like admit you're wrong. I've been there, you've been there, we've all been there. But it's one of those things where in the moment you have to take it, because you're playing a 50-50 game. You really, really are. Unless you've done an extensive amount of statistical research, you are playing a 50-50 game, which means make the loss survivable, make it survivable. And then guess what? You have the opportunity to play the game again the next day, or even within that day, to potentially make it all back and get green. But just to hold on to that losing trade and hold it and hold it and hold it. And we've been there. I'm not really accusing you guys of it. I know you've done it, but more so speaking for myself, it just sucks. And then you're just there praying for one position to come back, and most likely you're fighting the trend. And I don't know. What's your exit strategy for SoFi? That's the type of stuff we do in the Discord. I'm not just gonna like tell you guys right here, right now what I'm doing. I'm more than happy to give you update videos. I'm more than happy to tell you the levels and stuff that I'm watching and share my position. 15, it's a 15-point risk right now. SPY keeps getting hit, but we are right off of 40. I'm trying to be mindful of a potential bounce. This is kind of what we saw yesterday. We got really close to the closing value. We didn't actually touch it, and then we bounced. But generically with SoFi, I can answer that I'll get out when the trend stops. Pretty much that easy. Like, there's nothing too special really to it. Mag 7 got hit there. The first weakness we saw in the Mag 7. Okay, is this the bottom or are we puking? What time is it? It's 10:06. Is this the bottom? All right, we're going to take a stab at it. Obviously,
Order submitted.
the recent low is my risk. All right, I'm just updating my risk on that. I wanted to get it in. Oh, dude, SoFi is just fucking cooking. 17.7K. 1 day return. That's insane. My jaw's on the ground because I like when these plays happen, but generally it takes a couple days because remember, most of the time, big movements require time. Large trends are a function of time. So it's just crazy in 1 day to see a 9% movement. And it's so think about the odds of it. A 9% move day is rare. It's even more rare to be involved in a 9% day on the right side of the trade. So think about like just the odds of this. In general, SoFi, 9% days, they don't happen. When they do happen, it's rare. What are the odds of being in the position when it happens? Even rarer. And then what are the odds of being in the position on the right direction on the exact day that moves? All of a sudden, you're talking about something that is statistically very, very rare, which is fucking blowing my mind right here. 17K. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, I'm hoping this is the bottom. I'm actually going to probably be even more aggressive with my stop. I might not even use this 10.05 low. The reason I was willing to take advantage of this, even without the options necessarily looking the best, well, first of all, there was a little bit of a bounce, but I'm recalling on the past couple weeks worth of trading data that we've been seeing 10 a.m. reversals. So whatever direction we're going, we've been seeing it change at 10 a.m. Has that been happening every single trading day? Absolutely not. Has it been happening so much in the past 2 to 4 weeks worth of trading that it is noteworthy? Without a freaking doubt. It feels like we've been continually seeing these 10 a.m. reversals time and time again. So that was another part of the reason where I'm like, okay, I saw this pop. Is this the low? I saw that SPX was right at this key level. So kind of like yesterday where it's aligning with time, similar to yesterday, kind of barely not tapping the closing value, and then we took off. Like that's exactly right here. Where was it? No, it was even earlier. This dip right here, we undershot it by like 2 points. We got down to 18. The closing was 15. So we almost got it. We just didn't. And then we popped and ripped. So with that in mind, I'm not saying that it has to repeat, and I'm not necessarily liking this little new form of weakness. I want to see a higher low from here. You could argue I'm a little bit early, but I'm just kind of piecing together some of the recent data and trends that we've been playing and seeing how it goes. And obviously, I played it via NQ, which on a relative basis has been the stronger asset. But if you're looking for a position on the SPY, my recommendation would be pay attention to this downsloping trend line that we've had established this morning. But I'm thinking about moving my stop to break even and seeing if I could play this all the way back up. Obviously, I'm long at 37. You heard it go off. I am hoping it doesn't get rejected at 50. Are there a lot? There is. Okay, so the point of control is 38. I'm in at 37. So my long position is basically the point of control, the POC, which is where most volume has been transacted today. Most volume. I'm thinking, even though I haven't hit my first one yet, I might just take all risk off the table so I don't go deeper into a hole than $989. But it's really close. As in, it could 12 points, 50. It is one ATR in my favor. It is one ATR. What would a smart trader do right now? That's the real question. What would WWAT, what would a smart trader DRN do right now? WWATSDRN. What would a smart trader do right now? If it takes out 60, I feel a lot more comfortable with it. Shout out to Bookmap. All right, I could see 60 here, and then I see people at 75. This is my first target right here where my cursor is in the top right of your screen. This zone, not only can I see right now that people have sitting sell orders right there, but I can also tell you that they're going to be reacting to it. Why they picked this level? Well, that was literally the pre-market high, and people like to target the pre-market high. So I'm thinking if it can crack this sell side liquidity at 60 here, if we could get above that, should be a nice, easy, ideally an easy ride up to 75. So I just need this to crack 60. Come on. I just need this to take out 60, and then ideally I'm front running it by 1 point just in case. I don't want the traders to get cute on me there and like stop at a point before. That's why my sell is at 74. You know what? I'm taking all my risk off the table. Stops at break even. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be what it's going to be. I hope it doesn't hit me, but stops at break even. So it's at least I'm not digging in a hole. I feel like a smart trader would do exactly that. And if it clocks me, which is getting very, very close right now. It's getting very, very close. Knowing my luck, it'll probably clock me and then rip right to my target. But if it does that, boo-hoo, because it could do that 9 out of 10 times. But what about that 10th time where it clocks you and then actually vomits and you lose your accounts? The risk reward of that mindset is completely asymmetric. Think about this. Okay, what I just said there was it goes a little in my favor. I aggressively move my stop to break even, and kind of that joke of like, oh, it's going to clock, which literally it's coming close to it. Think about how this could play out. Let's say 9 times out of 10, it comes down, it clocks you, and then it rips anyway. And you're sitting there and you're angry and you're pissed off and you're like, oh, shucks, like, why didn't I just give it more room to breathe? Okay, that's a fair argument. Let's say that happens 9 out of 10 times, where 9 out of 10 times, great, you made a gain, you made a gain, you made a gain. What about the 10th time, though, where it doesn't just clock you, it actually vomits, and you lose your counts, like it's gone? Those 9 gains you had don't matter anyway because you just blew out your account. Does not matter. So like I said, it's asymmetric. So you can't just focus on those like, oh, shucks types of moments. Like, yeah, I get it. We've all been there. It kind of sucks. But especially with these sim funded accounts, you have to think about the risk the other way of, yeah, maybe 90% of the time, gain. But that other 10% of the time, the 1 in 10 times, you're hitting the restart button anyway. So like it sucks in the moment, and it seems like this is going to do it. And I'm not saying psychologically it's any easier, but when we really dive into the math of what's going on, there's obviously an appropriate way to play it. There's clearly an appropriate way to play it. And I'm about to get fuck. Come on, don't do it. It's because the SPY is so weak. This pump was looking good. Starting
Order
to fail.
filled.
Yep, just knocked out at break even. So it didn't cost me anything. Freebie play. Took a stab at it. When will you sell your position? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What position? This is what's wrong. How bad is the American education system that people can't have basic conversation abilities? I just don't understand it. Get wrecked. Well, that's kind of shitty, Trex. I don't cheer for you when you don't have a good trade. That's like a fucked up thing to do. I'm not imploring you when you have, and it was also a break-even trade, but I think that's kind of fucked up karma on your part. On SoFi, I'm not just going to tell you exactly, that's what the Discord is for. But also, learn how to communicate better, dude. That's just piss poor communication skills. When you selling, I had the text before and I hit send, my bad. All right, that's fair. I can accept that. I have been known myself to send text too early, auto correct issues. That's fair. That's a fair excuse. I'd be a liar if I ever said that didn't happen to me. Dude, is this fucker going to force me back in right now? I'm going to give it a second. Mag 7 had a nice pop until 956, got hit, started to try to recover at 110, now looking a little bit questionable. The SPY seemingly bottomed at 1005, popped up, pulled back. Is this a higher low? I wonder if this is the higher low that I've been waiting for right here. The SPY showing a higher low. What would my risk be on this? I could pull this off with very minimal risk.
Order submitted.
I could pull this one off with very minimal risk. Let's see. Is this the bounce? I'm seeing the first potential higher low in the S&P 500 today. All day. Lower highs, lower lows, but this structure right here, 1014, 1015, 1016, it is the first potential higher low. Obviously, we need a couple more bars to confirm, but your real confirmation would be on the break of this recent high. That's what you're looking for. Because lower highs, lower lows, and then from here, if we get all the way up there, that's a higher high and a higher low, a potential trend change. A potential trend change. We'll see. We're playing a 50-50 game, and when you're playing a 50-50 game, for you to win, it's all about risk management. This is payback for what? When have I ever talked shit on Utrex? Whenever I've been like, good, you're losing money. That's just a stupid thing to fucking say. I understand this concept of there's no crying in the casino. Totally get that. And I also get it if we have opposite positions of each other and maybe you had a whatever, if you want to talk shit because you're like, nope, I have this bull thesis. Maybe I have this bear thesis and like whatever, say you're opposite of it. I get that as well. But for you to be, I guarantee you were not short the NASDAQ. You're just being an asshole to be an asshole. Whatever. You're going to have to deal with that karma, not me. That's something you're going to have to take up with the karma gods. All right. Maybe the delta is showing the same situation. Clear puke to 1005. Popped, pulled back. Can it hold this? Or is it just setting up for another rotation down? Obviously, similar to the discussion of the potential price action trend change, you could do that same analysis in delta. Will this delta pump above this 10-12 high? Or is this just like a momentary blip and we're just going to rotate back down? Decisions need to be made. SoFi still looking good. Tesla's not doing much. AMD did try to get going. A little bit of a waterfall there. Microsoft, a little bit of waterfall, now stabilized at 526. NVIDIA's looking good. Palantir's looking good. Oracle. Okay, so basically the name of the game today of what looks really good is the top three equities here. SoFi looks great. NVIDIA looks great. Palantir looks great. Apple, no. CoreWeave. CoreWeave is actually looking pretty decent too. We'll move that up. Hood, a bit of a bounce. Hood, a bit of a bounce. Me, Matt, is just upset I don't take him seriously. No, I just think you're an asshole. Why would you be stoked that someone didn't do, like, that's just like a fucked up thing to do. You're stoked that I had a trade that got knocked out? Like, what's the humor in that? I think that's a fucked up thing. That's why I think, like, some of I have my issues with Reddit, but I think some of the culture on Reddit is more interesting than that, because when someone does well, I always say get wrecked. It's not new. Okay, so what? You're stoked that you're just perpetually an asshole? That doesn't make your defense any better. It's a fucked up thing to do, dude. When people are betting actual money to be stoked if it doesn't go their way, I get it if you're betting against them and you're stoked for yourself, but to be stoked that it didn't work out for someone else, that's a pretty fucked up thing. And then if your reasoning is like, no, but I always do it. Oh, so you're just always an asshole. That's fucked up. Like it doesn't take like any form of complex EQ to understand that. If you're just fucked up, you're fucked up, dude. That's on you. All right, SPY. Definitely cracked that. So we are, as of now, continuing with this overall trend. So you could see these little carrots, the green carrots and the red carrots. If you want it on your own chart, it's called fractals or Williams fractals, but it's a free indicator, and it maps out the local highs and lows. So rather than you looking at the exact values, you could just kind of like quickly see, oh, okay, the highs are trending down. Oh, the lows are trending down, but maybe they're finding like equal lows in here. Like these are all roughly the same values while the highs are getting lower. So once again, these little carrots right here, the green and the red, it is on TradingView. It's free. Just search fractals, Williams fractals, and you could throw it up on your screen as well. It's just a nice visual aid tool to make it a little bit faster. So for example, I could just quickly say, oh, wow, okay, we're trending down. I'll watch that trend line. I could see that the highs bounced a little bit. We bounced up, bounced down. This is now lower than we just were. So technically, at least on this time frame, remember, trend is hyper specific to the time frame you are on. What you might see on the 1 minute is going to be very different than what you see on the 10, the 30, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly. Trend is very specific to the time frame you are on, and I have found in my own trading that it is far better when you're looking for trend alignment across various time frames. So like, let's say you're a day trader, you see alignment on like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 10 minute, which maybe also with the daily. The more alignment, the better generally, especially if you're a trend following trader. So anyway, on the 1 minute, we are clearly trending down, like without a doubt. For this to start to trend up, you'd want to break these recent highs because then you'd have a fresh high, and then you'd want to measure where's the low relative to the recent low. But right now, kind of starting on this breakdown at 9, kind of got going here at 942. From 942 to this moment, it's been nothing but down. Nothing but down. And I wonder, it just wants to tap this and go. I'd prefer that it undershoots it, but we'll see. Here's a look at the flow. Flow's getting hit. So price action is kind of looking the same as the delta flow. You have people selling their calls and buying puts. The Mag 7 is looking very different though. The longer duration Mag 7 is flat. The expiration for this Friday is tilting a little bit, but sometime between 9:56 and 10:20, a lot of longer duration call selling there. So I'm hoping that this is a bottom right here on the SPY, this red to green move. We do see people react to that, sometimes quite aggressively. Trex, are you still trying to like dig yourself out of this hole? You're just an asshole. It's all right. Some people are assholes in this world. Well, it's not all right. I think you should be better, but I think that is like a fucked up thing. I think it's a super fucked up thing for anyone to be rooting that someone else loses money. But I guess if that's how you want to behave, that's how you want to behave. Crazy that your defense is, no, I behave this poorly all the time, thus it's acceptable. Imagine if that's how society like actually ran. No, it's good that I do bad things because I'm always doing bad things, so now it's acceptable. That's actually just fucking stupid. I wasn't an asshole. You didn't read everything. Oh, okay. That's how it also works. Is if you say you're not an asshole, then you must be right. I forgot that's how it works. So, escaped my mind for a second there. I forgot it is you, the person, who gets to decide it. Interesting. Oh, something just got hit on the Mag 7. Oh, how do I want to do this? Do I want to cut my risk early? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to watch this right here on the SPY to see if we can ideally get a bounce out of there. Like I said, 50-50 shot. I am not necessarily more or less confident of the bounce. I'm just saying it's a key level that's worthwhile to pay attention to because a lot of the times traders like to react to this green to red move. So I'm wondering. Tech sector is trying to hold up. Well, it was. The SPY is just getting fucking hit right here. Palantir's looking good. Corey just took a hit. Tesla, I wish looked better. Oh, do I want to close this out? Well, never mind. Just got hit anyway. Yeah, my risk was obviously that low. I wasn't going to risk anything more. Wasn't going to risk anything more. All right, we got a little bit of an options puke there, folks. You can see it, the Mag 7. See how price got a little bit more extreme. It's perfectly aligned with that delta. And it's the double doozy, man. It is this call selling and it's this put buying, but it's all 0-DTE driven. These are not duration bets as in like, oh, we think this is going to happen tomorrow or Friday or something like that. This is literally like exclusively 0-DTE bets. And you can tell that if you're on SpotGamma and you're wondering, how do you know that? It's because of how tightly correlated the movement is between the 0-DTE and the all expiration. The fact that they are like pretty much exactly in lockstep tells you that the movement is just the 0-DTE. Just the 0-DTE. I wonder if they're doing this overshoot. We're going to find out. Tesla catching a little bit of a bid. SoFi catching a little bit of a hit. Palantir's looking good. This movement in NVIDIA is looking exactly like the Delta movement in the Mag 7. So I would assume this is all because of NVIDIA. Yep, look at that. Exactly when NVIDIA price, perfectly in line. Perfectly in line right here. What was it? A little bit of profit taking. Puts were sold this morning. People trying to bet against NVIDIA just admitted they were wrong. But right here, you have some profits being locked in. Whoa, SPY is quickly getting undone there. We're taking out. Are we going the other way? Right. That's pretty far away. 25,122. That's pretty far away. Definitely lower highs and lower lows. I really wanted to hit that pre-market high on this first pump. It could still happen today. That's what the stat is known for. It just doesn't happen that day. You do have this support at 200. Equities. Some of the most popular equities are obviously doing a bit better than this market right now. NVIDIA, Tesla. We just have to be patient. If you're looking for that dip buy, we're not seeing the trend quite yet. Look at that. Maybe in here. That's a tough call, though. That's a really tough call. Here, I'm going to go to the 5-minute just to clean this up a little bit. Just to clean this up. All right. maybe this will give us a bit more clarity. Well, if anything, I would say this just makes it very evident that the SPY has been little 5-minute pop to start the day, and ever since then just systematically getting walked down, and you're seeing it in the options flow as well. And like I said, it is the double doozy. People are selling 0-DTE calls and they're buying 0-DTE puts. So now it is kind of getting to the bottom of this. See how we have all this negative gamma? You're going to have support coming in at 30 to 15. This is an area of positive gamma. And since we're on the top side of it, you could think of this as support, which means that if we bounce out of this area back to the upside, it could easily pump all the way back up to this call credit spread at 6785. So this is all negative gamma, aka slippery price action. Not bullish, not bearish. It's just kind of like almost a puck on ice that like when you get going in one direction, you really get going in that direction. So I'm wondering, can we zoom in on this a little bit? See how we got right here to this transition? Right there. I wonder if it's almost running into this wall and if we're going to bounce back up. We're going to bounce back up. And we're right at these EMAs. 7 minutes. I might give it a second because I've already taken 2 shots at it. Oh, the Mag 7 just popped there. And we're seeing a little bit of a pop right here. I guess I just need to see a little bit more follow through, especially because if I fuck up this third trade here, I'm done for the day. Just not my day. Not my day. Not my day. Not my day. We'll see. Watching this flow very closely, putting it together with right here, this shift 35 to 30. We came all the way down to 36. Does it need to do a little bit of a double tap though? Is this it? What time is it? It's 10:33. Well, it's 2nd and 8. We have a lot of work to do. 2nd and 8. I keep coming. Mag 7 could look a little better. The SPY, I don't know. This might be the start of something, but it's kind of how it looked back here between 10:04 and 10:11. We're like, okay, we had a little bit of bottoming and showed life, and then unfortunately it just rolled over the other way. Some of these things are evidently going to be easier in hindsight. Evidently going to be easier. But we are right at that 30. The 30-minute 50 EMA. All right, I'm going to remark out these 4-hour extremes. Tesla, no. SoFi still having a decent day. NVDA, decent day. Palantir, good day. NVIDIA and Palantir holding up. Nope. Nope. Q's getting hit again. SPY getting hit again. Jesus, dude. Look at that. It came back right up, kissed the closing value from yesterday, and then got hit right away. New fresh low. Wow. Buyers are not stepping in, and if anything, the sellers are getting a bit more aggressive. Okay, to the downside, Qs have support at 606. It's $2 away. That's brutal. That's about 80 points in NQ. And on SPY, another $2 away. 669. SPY is at 669 and the Qs are at 606. So both have a $2 potential move from here if we just see this. Look at that. Holy shit. It's just these longer duration. All right. The bottom of the transition zone. So like I always say, bullish above, bearish below. We're in the transition choppy zone now. The bottom of the transition zone is 6,730. If that doesn't hold, you'd be watching somewhere between 6,718, yesterday's low, and the key open interest level is 6,715. If that doesn't hold, you'd be watching 6,700 flat. So if you are bearish, obviously you're looking for the breakdown of the transition zone, falling to this next technical, psychological, and open interest level. And if that doesn't hold, then you'd be watching this 5-point region between 6,705, 6,700. But obviously, there's no guarantee when this stuff turns. It can very, very, very much turn. So we're not on the bearish side of things yet. So I'm not really willing to chase it down because, once again, we're still in the transition zone. But if that snaps, if we snap, pull back up, get rejected there, then maybe I'd play it via like some day trades. But wow, that got smacked hard at 1034. Look at what happened to NVDA and Palantir. I wonder. Okay, the 5-minute is on the bearish side. The 10-minute is now on the bearish side. The 30-minute is testing bearish. 5 minutes bearish, 10 minutes testing, 30-minute is still bullish on NQ. Okay, this means an interesting play. This current 10-minute bar that we're going to be done with in a minute and 30 seconds, if we could take out the current high, that's actually a nice reversal right here. On ES, that would be 6,789. On NQ, well, actually, it's just the bounce right off of this. So even taking out the last 5-minute high at 25,225 would be pretty nice. So I'm watching the current bar that's being made on NQ, the current 5-minute bar, and on ES, the current 10-minute bar. If we could take out those highs, that might be an interesting opportunity. Obviously, it's interesting with price action. You would want the options flow to align with it, obviously. So let's see. That would be, at the current state, a reasonable risk-reward setup. But on the flip side of that, if you're bearish, it's always good to know both cases. It would be the snap of the bottom of the transition zone at 30, opening up a 15-point drop, which would actually be pretty much, this is obviously on SPX, that would be aligning with the SPY getting down to 669. Yeah, that movement would roughly be down to 669. Dude, it's just getting hit. Just getting hit. I don't know. I'm still optimistic of these dip buyers coming in. Maybe they want to test the Qs here. Maybe that's like people's ultimate goal. I mean, technically, you could have a reach goal all the way down here to 25,120. That would be the what we saw at 9 p.m. last night. We were all the way down here. Look how close that got. That's such a pain in the ass. That's such a pain in the ass. We're at 200 right now. Not the craziest thing to reverse out of this one. Well, there's some buyers stepping in. Mag 7's not showing much. SPY is still, I mean, it's showing a little bit of a twist to the upside, but we saw that at 1028. We saw that at 1004. And even though they lasted for about 10 minutes, it wasn't long lasting. Like I said, NQ breaking above 25,223 and ES breaking above 6,789 would definitely catch my attention. Would definitely catch my attention. But on the 5-minute, this feels like catching a falling fucking knife. On the 5 minute, it feels like attempting to catch a falling knife. On a 0-DTE basis, on a day trading, scalp trading basis, 1 minute, 5 minute, even the 10 minute right now, from market open to this moment, the trend is clearly bearish. Could that revert? Of course it could, obviously. But right now, if you're looking at price action in the short term, if you're looking at options flow in the short term, the SPY has been bearish ever since the first 5 minutes, and the Mag 7 has been bearish ever since about 9:55. So a lot of time left in the day. Obviously, crazy things can happen. I mean, yesterday, what time did we actually revert? We reverted at... Yesterday, things got going... Wait, no, that's Thursday. Sorry. Where's Monday? At 10:10, 10:20 is when we started to revert yesterday. On Friday of last week, we had a bearish reversion at 1 p.m. On Thursday of last week, it changed at 11:50. So just because we have this movement doesn't mean that it's going to go that way. Of course, you could have a big trend day, and this could keep going and going and going, obviously, without a doubt. But I wouldn't necessarily be sold. I think one of the healthiest mindsets in short-term trading is this mindset of just always shrugging your shoulders and say, yeah, maybe up, maybe down from here. Not to be so, I guess, rigid in your thought process of, oh, it can't switch. I think at any given point, it's good to just be like, yeah, no, I don't know, 50-50 shot. This seems to be norm for days, then we get a new all-time high, at least this year. Yeah, we're like, there's almost that early morning, whether miniature bearish bets or profit taking, and then it recovers either that afternoon in the overnight session or the next day. That it does seem to be the current norm, but of course, it's called that exactly, current norms. They come and they go. It's not so beat up yet that I'm still looking for a bullish position. But obviously, just because you're looking for a bullish position doesn't mean you arbitrarily do it. I'm happy with the shots I took today. I liked the attempts at some of these recoveries. I thought various things aligned. I don't mind it. It just didn't work out. And welcome to the world of trading. That's exactly what trading is going to be. And you're able to survive the game if you can keep your risks small. Looks like an extension level event. This is most likely an extension level event right here. This sell off of 0.08% in the SPY. I'm not sure we'll ever recover. Only Jim Cramer could save us at this point. They're going to have to bring on Jim Cramer to save this one. The SPY is just not catching its footing. The Mag 7 was looking really good, got hit, and now it's just not trending. NASDAQ has been trending down pretty much all day with the SPY. Just actually, there's been more 0-DTE put buying. It started off the 6,750 level. You can see for the first 10-ish minutes, they were, do we want to do it? Do we not? And 10 minutes in, the fact that we didn't keep popping there, you can see this light blue line. That's where they started to get 0-DTE puts. If I had to guess, and I don't have this data readily available, it was probably just directly playing it off this rejection here at 6,750. When we didn't have any follow through, they're like, cool, we'll take this breakdown. Our risk is 4 points, 5 points. And look at that from a risk reward perspective. It was greatly worth it. Yeah, right around 940, 945. When they saw this little weakness in here, when we couldn't hold 6,750, you can't blame them. That's a shrewd play. I get it. I didn't play it. Obviously, in hindsight, I wish I did. But the risk was there. As it started to crack more, I bet they moved their stop to break even, and then they just got to ride this down. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Well, I mind it because it's currently costing me money. But I get the play, and I cannot stress this enough. These are not plays that are being expressed for next month, next week, or even for tomorrow. These are exclusively 0-DTE flows. That's the green calls, the fact that these are moving in lockstep. No one is really touching longer duration puts. And then the two blue lines, you have the 0-DTE and you have the all expiration. The fact that these are moving in lockstep also tells you the same thing, that it's just bets for today. It's just bets for today. What copy trader do you use for Accounts on Ninja? Where can I get it and how to use it? Well, there's various ones. The one I'm currently using is Replicanto. Another one that is popular is Apex Trader. There's various ones out there. And for how to use it, just go Google, I don't know, watch a video, watch a breakdown, read their FAQ. All right. It seems like the velocity of the sell-off is starting to slow down. The velocity is. But is that just because... So VWAP is back up to 211. Interesting. On NQ, that is. Sorry, I should have said that. Because we're at 25,200. 211 is VWAP. You could see that right here. This white dash line, 211. We puke through the point of control. I wonder if this is going to be a recapture of VWAP and then we rip it, or is it just going to be a pop-up to VWAP, we get rejected, and we actually keep puking today? But right here, SPY seemingly finding support at 671, which I did not have marked out as a level, but we're also pretty much, we got to the bottom of this transition zone. We got within 1.8 points. So, maybe it's just literally finding support at the bottom of the transition zone. Maybe. Yeah, 190. Pretty much this rejection right here, this is VWAP. Is this a worthwhile shot? I'm torn. I'm torn. How's the Mag 7? Mag 7's finally showing a little bit of life. The SPY, it's not getting hit anymore, but it's also not showing the most of light. If this is a bottom, you're going to need the delta to actually start popping from here rather than just stop vomiting. Stopping vomiting is step one. So that's more of like, oh, like maybe you find interest in it. But step two would be actually going up and people getting out of their puts and getting back into calls, which is a giant if at the moment. NVIDIA catching a little bit of a bid, Palantir catching a little bit of a bid. If NVIDIA can catch a bid, if Microsoft can catch a bid, which it's actually getting hit, if Apple's part of the problem today, not the solution. But if the three big guys, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Apple, in that order, can all start actually trending up. Apple got hit ever since 10:15. Then they have a shot. Someone said Tesla curling back. All right. It didn't even hit 55. It hit 52, 53 this morning. Oh, what is this range bound rejection bullshit? We ran right back up to VWAP and got smacked on the NASDAQ. Like right up to it, like within a point. And it said, nope, never mind. Just trending down. This is a patience play. If you created a bearish position this morning, which obviously I'm jealous of you, I clearly did not do that. Just keep riding the trend. You never know how long the trend's going to last. Just keep trailing it. And you go from there. And when the trend, if it ever does revert, okay, you get knocked out. And if you want to take your money and run, great. If you want to switch your position, great. But you don't know how long trends are going to last. So the whole point, especially as a trend following trader, is to stay in as long as you can. And right now, SPY's been down ever since 9:55, and you could argue the Qs. Maybe you could argue 10 a.m. It was a little bit longer, but that was weird. That was a big bounce, and then it showed more weakness. Somewhere between 10 and 10:30 is where it became a bit more evident in the Qs. If you caught the bearish trend, in a general sense, and obviously maybe you have specific things to worry about, such as like, I don't know, consistency rules on sim defunded or something like that. But in the most general sense, if you caught the trend, ride the trend. That's the point of trading, is when you catch the big one, ride it as long as you possibly can, because you're going to need those winners to pay off the losers. I find that retail traders are the opposite. They'll hold on to losers forever, praying that it comes back. And then the second they have a winning trade and they see a little bit of green, then they're like, cool, I'm going to lock it in. You got to train yourself to do the opposite. If you have a winner, ride it, ride it, ride it. If you have a loser, as soon as it hits your wrist, just get out. Just cut it and move on with your life. All right. How low did we just get? We got to 72. Yesterday's closing value was 71. Mag 7 is not really trending anymore. S&P 500 actually just made a fresh delta low. And we are right here. That's even becoming positive gamma back up here at 45. So there is still some positive gamma support between 30 and 25, which is why I have this transition zone marked out, because we're transitioning, obviously, into this positive gamma. But let's see. Let's see if this is more of, you could also argue we've been range bound since 1032-ish. We kind of got this puke and we really have stopped. I mean, Delta's been trending down. This sucks trying to catch a falling knife, which is what I feel like I'm doing. But also, no one would be surprised at all if I told you 1050 was the low of the day, because we just hit the closing value on the Qs. Like, no one would be surprised. So I get torn between that of like, oh, are you taking a low risk entry off a key level? Okay, I like the sound of that. But then on the flip side, based on the price action throughout the day, since we've only been going down, it feels like you're on the like you're just trying to catch a falling knife. Tesla not doing much, Palantir not doing much, Intraday, NVDA not doing much. I'm not really. Microsoft just took a hit. That's doubly not good for me. Oracle, nothing's really moving today. SoFi was the one that was moving, and even the past 20 minutes on that haven't looked so good. This might just be a bust of a day, a loser of a Tuesday as we just wait. Might be a bust of a day, folks. Mag 7, not much. SPY, not much. We're not the craziest bounce out of here, right here. All this negative gamma. 30 to 25. 30 to 25. Maybe. SoFi, I'll remark that. NVIDIA, I'll remark that. Palantir's looking good. Tesla's not moving today. CoreWeave not moving today. AMD not moving today. Microsoft not really moving. Apple a little bit weak. Oracle a little bit weak. Hood almost broke down and actually caught itself. That's interesting. Bitcoin is taking a bit of a hit. Looks like we have some profit taking in crypto. Hut, we'll watch that one. Oklo, inside day. Avago, not much movement. Meta, not much movement. Potential bounce there on Netflix. Netflix may be finding a bottom. Another inside day. Open, nothing much. RGTI popped, couldn't hold it. Same thing with QBTS. Same thing with IONQ. MSTR, big pop, but giving it back. Damn, 6% drop today. Got really rejected at that 50 EMA, going with the overall bearish trend. Jesus. Wow, that one's getting slapped right now. DJT not really moving. Texas Roadhouse, a little bit of a pop recently. VIX not really moving. ETH 4.6. Whole bunch of nada today, folks. We were setting up for something interesting, but the fact that we just couldn't hold this 6,750 level as of now is why we had issues. We just couldn't hold these levels up here, and people started betting against it. I know they did, because right here, look at all that Zero-DTE put buying. But note, the trend at 1040 has officially changed. See how we were slightly trending down in calls and we were clearly trending down in puts? That has now gone flat. So maybe we go from a period of downward expansion to consolidation, gearing up for the next direction of expansion. That could be up, it could be down, but I could tell you things have since 1040, at least in options flow, and you could also see it in price, have like definitively calmed down. And remember, in the world of trading, it's periods of expansion, consolidation. So let's just wait and I guess see what this next one is. And maybe maybe there might not be a trade. There might not be something happening. There are days where just literally there wasn't a quality setup. I miss Trex, says Tom. Well, take that up with Trex. When he can learn to not be an asshole, he is welcome to speak. That is exclusively in his hands. There has been great money moves all day, 10 points all day. Well, 10 points isn't a great move. 10 points in NQ, the opening bar moves like that. That doesn't make it a good move. 10 points? That's minuscule. 10 points in something like SPX is worthwhile to talk about. 10 points in NQ. That's not something to run home to mom about, dude. Not something to run home to mom about. Yeah, this has just been busted up. Busted up. 10 points is ripping, Matt. Get over yourself. 10 points on SPX could be something. 10 points on SPY is crazy. 10 points on Qs is crazy. 10 points on Palantir. 10 points on NVIDIA. 10 points on NQ. That's not ripping. Use 2 contracts and 10 points and do it every day on NQ. Yes, it is. No, you might make money, but that doesn't mean it's ripping. 10 points on NQ is roughly 25 cents in the Qs. If the Qs move 25 cents, you would call that ripping? You would call that a dramatic pop, a dramatic sell-off? No, it's not. A person who has never traded before could look at the Qs and would tell you that a 25-cent movement is nothing. I don't know, 450 on 5 accounts all day is a lot to me. That's silly. If you bought 1 million shares of SPY and it goes up 1 cent and you're like, hey guys, I made 10K, that's a lot of money. But what's a lot of money to you doesn't mean that the underlying itself is ripping or not. That's crazy. The fact that you don't we're not talking about this. All these things are like infinitely scalable. So just because you're saying it's a lot of money to you, first of all, that's to you. But we do have an objective measure of a big move or a small move, and it's the percentage. And a 10-point movement on something that is trading at 25,186, 10 points up and down is not big at all. At all. I'm very stoked you're making money. And like I said, you could scale it up to a shitload of contracts. I mean, depending on your account size, you can, on a 150K account, you can trade 17 contracts. So the scalability doesn't have the impact on a 10-point movement is nothing in NQ. It's absolutely nothing. We literally just bounced 10 points. From 1057 to 1057 and 20 seconds. In 17 seconds, we bounced 10 points. That, by definition, is not some large, amazing move. But once again, you're just a scalp trader, and that's great. A lot of people make a lot of money scalp trading. If you can do it well, follow your rules, and do it consistently, and at the end of the day, you're just trying to get payouts from the SIMDA-funded firm, that's sick. That's your goal. That's what you should be doing. I'm by no way knocking the amount of actual dollars you can make, but percent-wise, it's not some amazing move in the market. Yeah, it's ripping. Yeah, ripping. 10 points up. Imagine if we thought every 10-point movement in NQ was either ripping or plummeting. We'd be screaming all day. I'm wondering if we're going to bounce out of here. I'm wondering if we're going to bounce out of here. Maybe. The last time we poked our head up on the 5-minute was back here at 10:10. Did not end well. The last time we did it was 9:55. Did not end well. Is the third time the charm? I do scream all day. Happy for you. That's one viable way to trade. The last time the 5-minute on Qs popped up was 10:10. It did not end well. Other than that, we have not made a fresh 5-minute high in quite some time. We have not. Ooh, Mag 7 just took another hit, probably NVDA, because I saw NVIDIA's price getting clocked. The SPY dumped again. Dude, the whoever woke up the bears in the options market today, golly, they are not happy players. They are not happy campers. What information was just released at 11 a.m.? I don't think anything. There might have been an announcement, but I don't think there was a data drop. The only thing I know of with respect to data, and it's not even that impactful, it's important, but it's not a crazy one, is the consumer credit at 3 p.m. today. Did you get out of SoFi? No. Why would I get out of SoFi? SoFi is up 5.5%. The only reason you would get out of SoFi is if you're like drilled into the 1-minute chart and you have the mental fortitude of a child and you're just looking at it. You're like, but over the last 30 minutes, it hasn't kept going up. Dude, look at the daily. Really, with a daily chart like this, you're gonna zoom into the last 30 minutes of action. I've not smart. My nuclear power plant alarms went off. Gotta go. Well, that doesn't sound good. If you don't take the top, you're a loser. Well, pretty much every trade in the world then is going to be a loser, and I guess we just have to accept it. I don't know. Not sure how long you plan to be in. Not a time-based thing. I never really understood why people are like, oh, I'm going to be in for X amount of time. It's one thing if you're playing a certain event, you're like, oh, I'm playing earnings, I'm playing an inflation report, and you're just going to get out right after that. But if it's a swing trade, this idea of like, nope, I'm going to be in for 3 days, you would have to have like a lot of very, very evident reasoning for that. Like you'd have to show it mathematically. But this idea of like, I'm just going to be in it for right now, like 1 day, that's it. I'm not saying that there aren't strategies like that exist and are profitable, but I don't hear of many retail traders doing that type of an analysis. If anything, it seems like people are just like, no, it's not continuing in your exact favor. So like, why didn't you get out? Fed Mirren's comment, this fucker, the new Fed member. Is that what's going on? Mirren is the newest Fed member who's absurdly dovish just because stalls the traders wait more progress on ending the shutdown. Where is CNBC? He's just going to do whatever Trump tells him to do.
Since he was all the stuff to you, searching for it to shop.
To product innovation.
It must have been earlier today. Oh, wait. What's this one?
Earnings growth are rising.
Counting. We will get a read on the consumer and the economy, this time coming from the New York Fed.
Massive single-day stock moves are becoming an everyday reality in this AI wave, but are cracks in the trade forming amid fears of an approaching bubble? We'll talk about it with Goldman's co-head of tech investing, Brooke Dane, this hour.
And watching shares of Amazon within striking distance of correction.
14. VIX a little bit elevated here at about 16.5. Let's begin
trying
with
to
some
find
breaking
the
news out of
comments
the
on
New York
Mirren.
Fed. For that, we'll turn to Steve Leisman. Morning, Steve.
I'm getting a lot of alerts of shit.
Morning, Carl.
Hitting recent
New York
lows.
Fed inflation expectations in their consumer expectations survey The expectations are rising. Unemployment concerns are increasing. Here's the expectations for inflation
this
1 year out
is what the market's reacting to.
0.2% to 3.4%. That's the highest since April 2025, around the time of the reciprocal tariffs. The 3-year unchanged at 3%. That is the 5th straight month right at that 3% level. The 5-year also at 3%. That's up 0.1%, the highest since May 2024. Inflation expectations increased for food, gas, medical care, and rent. Expectations for growth in food prices was the highest since March of 2023. On to the labor market. Earnings growth down 0.1%, or the expectations for earning growth to 2.4%. That's the 3rd straight decline, and the lowest since May of 2021. Expectations for higher unemployment up 2 percentage points to 41.1%. 3rd increase in a row, highest since April 2025. Job loss, though, that expectation for job loss increased 0.4% to 14.9. 4th increase in a row, highest since April 2025. One positive thing, expectations for finding a job did go up by 2.5 points, but it's really a rebound from a series low. It remains near the pandemic low of that concern about finding a job if you lose one. Spending growth expectations declined 0.3% to 4.7%. And we just are getting some headlines here where Stephen Myron, the new Fed governor, talking about the idea the neutral rate is higher. He sees supply side policies from the Trump administration weighing down or reducing the idea of saying the Fed is really further from neutral because of the lower neutral rate. Sarah?
Yeah, how close do these inflation expectations track with
market
the
reacting
inflation numbers?
horribly
Hopefully
to
we'll get
this.
one next week. Let's see if we're still in shutdown.
They're not. They don't track right with it, Sarah. As you know, they kind of are something that precedes it a year ahead of time, depending upon what's going on. Very much, they're close to food prices, close to expectations for gas prices. The Fed is less concerned with the 1 and the 3 and more with the 5. At some point, Sarah, the Fed has to turn and look at itself and say, look, we've been stuck at 3% on the 5-year inflation outlook for a very long time here. Are we in danger of changing the outlook or the expectation in the economy that our real target is 3, not 2? That's a danger for the Fed that they're going to have to deal with at some point. Myron's saying he believes that rents are going to be coming down, and that's going to be something that will help shape inflation expectations. That's a big part of his call for more aggressive return to neutral by the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, and he's been pushing this idea that inflation changes, the immigration changes are going to be positive and put pressure on inflation.
Right.
All right, thank you, Steve.
That.
Steve Lee's
All right, now we're at the low from
President
yesterday.
Trump will meet with
Another
Canadian Prime
potential
Minister
bounce
Mark
zone.
Carney. Our Eamon Javers has more on what to expect. Eamon, the president has toned down the rhetoric around annexing Canada since he was last here.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah.
No
Relations
more
between the United States
annexing
and Canada have been
You
sour
heard it here first. Wow. Well, the market not like, wow, we dumped right out of it. And where did we bounce? Right at the key gamma level. Wow. Well, are they taking their profits? Holy shit. Someone waterfalled the Mag 7. Bought longer duration puts and sold longer duration calls. Wow. That's clearly bearish. Holy shit. Well, market not reacting well to the New York Fed predictions of increased inflation, which I don't know. I understand that the administration is telling us that inflation is no longer an issue. It's still very much an issue, and it does not take much big brain analysis to realize it whatsoever. It really doesn't, and this is what happens, folks. You get one of these reports, you don't have a weak jobs report because the government shut down to kind of counteract it the other way. So the market is just directly relating to this. Holy shit. Bitcoin down to 122. Palantir is still green. AMT is still green. And SoFi is still green. What the fuck is this? It's just puking, folks. Puking. Well, I'm very happy I had my risk set because these accounts would have been gone if I let it go all the way this way. Holy shit, that really accelerated. Really accelerated. I suppose the final question from here is just, will people use it as a dip buy opportunity? People who feel like they missed out on the whole pump, or the recent pump. I shouldn't say the whole pump, but the recent pump I wonder if they're like, oh, finally, a bit of a breather. Remember, I told you SPY 669 was support, and I also told you 605, 606 on the Qs. So we hit support on both of these, and it happened to be the low value from yesterday. Are buyers going to step in here, or is it going to be enough of a downside jolt that people are like, fuck this, I'm not dealing with it, and they move on? What happened? Negative inflation report. The New York Fed came out with their anticipation, and they have inflation increasing, which is such an obvious thing. Like, no shit, inflation is increasing. More manipulation. I don't ever know what people say when they mean that. No, it's just people buying and selling. That's not manipulation. It's traders reacting to news. You might not like how they react, but that doesn't mean it's manipulation. Oh, it does not mean it is manipulation. Manipulation would be like lying about shit, or like hiding orders, or spoofing. That's not, like, what do you mean by manipulation? Well, we took out some of these recent highs. I'm wondering, do we just bounce off the low from yesterday? We took out 1, 2, 3, 4 highs, 1, 2 high. Like, it's, I don't know. This is a dangerous game of trying to catch a falling knife, though. A dangerous game of it. Where's VWAP at? If we do get a bounce up to VWAP, it's almost 100 points. It's like a 90-point bounce back up to VWAP. So if that were to happen, that's a nice trade. Matt thinks this is a fair market. When did I say it's fair? I'm just saying I think a lot of people bitch and moan about manipulation when in reality they're just shitty traders. I never said that it was a fair market. I just think there's a lot of retail traders who suck at trading. They blame it on manipulation, and they just don't take any self-ownership. At no point did I say that the market is fair or equal, because it's not fair or equal, but I just think, well, I know that most retail traders suck, and instead of taking self-ownership for sucking, they blame it on other things, such as manipulation. Waiting for a 15-minute chart reversal. Anything less today isn't assuring for me. I think that's a pretty astute observation, honestly. I might take one more stab at this, a recovery above yesterday's low, risking the intraday low, just trying to, like, once again, if I can ride it all the way back up, the risk reward is optimal. But I've also already been burned twice today. Oh, do I want to take a stab at it? Fuck it.
Order submitted.
All right, I'm in the game. We'll see. We'll see if this is actually going to be the low. Right now, my risk is set to this 1109 low. I might move it very quickly up to this 1112 low, because, I mean, I've already gotten beaten up twice today. I can't take much more. I can't take much more. We'll see. From a risk-reward perspective, it's smart. Your risk is small relative to your potential reward. Bouncing back up to the start of the waterfall, to yesterday's closing value. You're buying it at support. Okay, great. Risk reward is there. That part of the equation I like. What I don't like is kind of two things, but they're really the same, is you're fading the news that just came out, which obviously the market interpreted to be bad. So don't like that. And because it did, it also means you're fading price action. You're doing the opposite of what the current price action and options flow is. So I'm not the biggest fan of that part, which is why I think I'm going to be even more aggressive with my stop. More aggressive with my stop. Is this just going to vomit out of it? I could get real cute with it, and I could actually go with trend on this breakdown if it does break down. That's a whole another option. is the trend line. The upsloping white line on the SPY and the Qs, if those both snap, I could go short and risk whatever this recent pop is and just bet on a continuation. That's a whole nother. We try to get back above 25,100. I'm watching this. We're just kind of flirting with yesterday's low on the SPY and the Qs. I'm curious. We overshot it, bounced up a little bit, and now we're range bound. Will we break the top side of this range? Or will we break the bottom side of this range? Market doesn't know what it wants to do. Everyone's confused. They don't know if we're in BTFD mode, buy the effing dip, or they don't know if we're in ST, sell the effing rip, STFR mode. Is it BTFD or is it STFR? I need someone to know. Can you make Apple go back to 259? If I could, I would. If I could, I would. Just so you guys know, I did try to buy the dip here. My risk is base. It's just the recent low. And the thought process is this. I have minimal risk. If it bounces all the way back up, great. If it bounces all the way back up, great. Oh, but I cannot take much more of a hit. Well, we might be getting a little bit of a, all right, I'm going to move that stop up. We're about to fucking 5-minute bearish, 10-minute bearish. Well, that would be an interesting breakout. The last 10-minute bar, if ES can take out 6782, that becomes interesting. If NQ can take out 25,191, that becomes interesting. 73. We'll find out. I'll tell you better at market close. We're right at support, right at the close value. Even a bounce back up to 30 here would be kind of where the waterfall started, but it's also the transition zone. Or does it just want to crack 15 and puke all the way down to 6,700? Golly. How's the flow? Mag 7 puked pretty hard to 1110. Now it's flat. SPY puked pretty hard to 1107, roughly the same time, and now pretty flat. Well, good luck today, because this is a fucking nightmare. The intraday action is completely opposite of the daily action. The movement came awkwardly late in the day because of maybe an overreaction, maybe an appropriately sized reaction to the New York Fed inflation update, which was higher than anticipated. Higher inflation, not so good, decreasing the odds of a rate cut, especially when we don't have the jobs numbers. And we puked right to these key levels, which were yesterday's low, which are also perfectly overlapping with key open interest levels. So that's kind of where we're at. The economy is good. Depends on how you measure it. I don't think that's just a well accepted, generically accepted statement. The question is this a dead cat bounce or not? If you ask me at 11:16, I'd say no, reversal. If you ask me right now, looks a little dead catty. And what I mean by that is all of a sudden the bounce is looking pretty lethargic and we are not continuing to get that upward momentum. I think NVIDIA got hit pretty hard. Yeah, and NVIDIA did get hit pretty hard by that, which went from looking amazing this morning to the trains going completely off the tracks. Well, folks, what went from being a pretty fucking awesome, amazing day has now rapidly turned into a little bit of a shit show. So here's to hoping the lunch session and the second half of the day are far, far better than the craziness that we've already seen thus far today. I promise you this, if you keep your sizing in control, keep your leverage in control, and keep your risk in control, you will survive the day, and you'll survive to fight for another day. Generally assume you're going to be right and wrong half the time. It's all about your sizing, your leverage, and your risk management. That is what sets the best traders apart. It's obviously no secret. You saw all my trades today. Thus far, I have a locked-in loss of $2,971. That sucks ass. It sucks ass. It sucks a lot of ass. I am up $1,000 right now, unrealized, so cutting off my loss by a third. Honestly, should I just move the stop to break even right now so I stop digging myself in this hole? I might do that. I might just, what's this, 1090? I can put it to 80. I'm just looking for this breakout and this follow through. But anyway, I have a locked-in loss of 2.9. I made one yesterday, so that's net in the hole too. Currently have a runner though, or I currently have a position. I shouldn't call it a runner. So I will keep you guys updated on Twitter. I'll post how it plays out, but you see the position. I told you I try to buy the dip, and if it can actually get going, sick. And my whole goal here is just to get this stop at minimum up to break even. I think I might just move it to 90 now though, because like even if that gets clipped, I still have a fighting shot on these accounts. So just want to let you know, obviously the position is live. So if you see a gigantic bounce without much of a dip at all, like let's just say we don't dip and we don't come back below, I don't know, this 1120 low, you know that I did well. And obviously I'll keep you guys updated. I'll let you guys know how that goes. But like I said, if you want to trade with someone else's money, use Apex, use that code Goonie, 80% off, and the upgrade fee from eval to performance, very cheap. It's the best deal that they currently have. And shout out to Bookmap as well. If you want to see those sitting buy orders, sell orders, all the trades coming across, check that out. It's also pinned to the top of chat and in the description of the video. I will keep you guys updated via Twitter. If you want to know my position, my entire goal is to be as transparent as I possibly can be. So with that in mind, I'll take a screenshot. I'll let you know how the accounts go. Or maybe they'll blow out. I have no fucking clue. We're about to find out. But all I can tell you is keep your risk in control. That is how you survive. That's what I have for you. Good luck with the lunch session. Good luck with the second half of the day and power hour and all that. I will be posting an update video later on today, and then we'll be streaming once again tomorrow morning. I hope to see you there. Hope you're doing better in the market than I am today. This midday, I don't know, the train going off the track starting around 10:30-ish has not been ideal. But hey, there's still quite a bit of time left in the day, so maybe we'll be able to pull a magic hat out of a rabbit. That's what I have for you. I appreciate the good vibes. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.